Hey, it's Molly. Welcome back to my channel as we take a look at the Capricorn Full Moon. The second Capricorn Full Moon happening on July 21st at 6:17 a.m. That's Eastern Time, so be sure and adjust for your location on the planet. There's a lot of significance with this full moon, so let's get into it. First, we'll start with the moon at 29 degrees of Capricorn, 8 minutes, opposing the sun at 29 degrees of Cancer in 8 minutes. Now, this is the second Capricorn full moon we are experiencing, and it is part of the lunar reset, where we had a Cancer new moon on July 5th at 14 degrees of Cancer that is now peaking with the Capricorn full moon that is shining a light on your responsibilities, your commitments, what you need to take care of and finish up. And there is clearly a lot going on in this chart and a lot of intensity. Now, before I get into more of the specifics, let's talk about this axis. So in astrology, the energies between Capricorn and Cancer relate to the family, relate to privacy, introversion, quiet, your emotional world, what you're truly feeling and experiencing. The sun in Cancer also opens up our heart chakra, our vulnerabilities, and how we experience our own internal emotional expressions and what we're feeling. Now at 29 degrees of Cancer, the last degree of the sign before the energy moves into Leo, there is a sense of ownership of what you're feeling, understanding your own truth, and trusting it. Trusting that what I feel, what I'm experiencing is valid, is real. And there's even a sense here of knowing that it is subjective, that it's your own. It's no one else's responsibility, and you are the master of your emotional world. On the other side of this astrological axis is Capricorn, which is about the world at large, how you show up, how you take care of things that you are responsible for. This is also the energy of what you are in charge of, what you need to handle. There's detachment here with the Capricorn energy, and there's a sense of how it appears to others, what your title might be to others, how you are perceived, how you are recognized. And in this particular axis, it is related to the mother and the father. It's related to your family lineage, how it's perceived in the world. It's related to where you have come from and where you are going. And that's based on the goals, the ambitions, the drive that the Capricorn energy has. So this second full moon in Capricorn is putting you now into alignment with what you've identified as important, as critical, perhaps even next level goals that you want to accomplish by the end of the year. Capricorn is the energy that both ends and begins our calendar year. It's associated with what we want to accomplish in a 12-month period. And so here you have a checking in on how that's going for you, how you're feeling about it, what's working, what's not working, what's paying off. This is a very practical, realistic sign. And at 29 degrees, there's an understanding of what needs to be completed, or rather, perhaps even what's not working. And you need to let it go. And there can be disappointment with that, disappointment to handle. This could also be a full moon that brings you into alignment with how much energy you're putting out into the world versus how much you have for your family, for yourself at the end of the day, where you're realizing that you're out of balance and there's things that you have to realign. Now, as you can see here, the full moon in Capricorn is conjunct Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius retrograde. And this brings in quite a lot of intensity. So the Capricorn energy here that you're sensing is very real. It could be a pressure. It could be something mounting that you're like, how am I going to handle this? What do I do with this? I want to get this off my plate. I need to finalize something. The pressure of a deadline could be looming. And then this conjunction with Pluto in Aquarius, and they're 1 degree apart. They're actually about almost 2 degrees apart. But this conjunction with Pluto brings in the intensity of the future. A part of you that's driving things forward to complete this. I need to finish this up so I can get here. But the conjunction with Pluto is intense. It brings up discomfort. It brings up feelings that you might not want to face or address. And this Pluto in Aquarius is very mentally focused, future focused, and is in fact uncomfortable with emotions of the past, with things that are holding you back. And so part of this realignment is that you're realizing why things have to be closed out and completed so that you can move ahead to the next chapter, the next evolutionary step. But the Pluto conjunction, even though it's out of sign, we say out of sign because Pluto's in a different sign. This is something that you can't escape, that you know you have to take care of for your future self, for where you're going. And the discomfort that it's bringing up is churning within you. And it's requiring a new approach, new solutions. It's requiring you to also look at how far you've come and acknowledge that, but also be very honest with yourself around what is not working and how it is necessary to face some fears right now. It is necessary to look something dead in the eye and acknowledge it, especially if it's a completion, which is highlighted when the sun and the moon are both at 29 degrees. Something is ending or closing out that could be very hard or difficult. It could also be something you've been struggling with that is taking its own sweet damn time, because the Capricorn energy paces. It does not rush. It has a methodical approach. And yet there's a part of you that's like, let's just get on with this. Can I be over this? And the answer is no. No, because Pluto is coming back to this degree point at 29 degrees of Capricorn. September 1st through November 22nd returns to 29 degrees of Capricorn, sits here and is churning a significant completion and transformation that you're going through that has probably been, I'm going to say, toppling down parts of your energy or parts of your world because it can't continue. Now, Pluto returning to Capricorn is the tyrant, the sense of being in control, having all the power, the energy of, I will be the one ruling this and taking over this. But Pluto in Capricorn has been teaching us true integrity, true responsibility, what it means to be in your authoritative power with consideration for others, for the heart, for the emotional experience, for the true needs of an individual. And this is a full moon that's illuminating what's out of balance, that Pluto will be requiring change around September, October, November. And there's a highlight here. It's foreshadowing the imminent structural changes, Capricorn, that have been in the works, the systemic changes that are needed, both personally, which is the moon, and collectively, which relates to the bigger consciousness on the planet. We are entering through this portal of deep and significant change that will be affecting more of the structures, governments, leadership, authority figures, CEOs, those who are in charge, who have been out of integrity, who have been out of feeling a responsibility for others. And this change is highlighted and is benefited as the people, which in mundane astrology is the moon, the people step into more of their desire for true change. And yes, of course, I'm aware of all the political energy going around. But there's something personal here that you need to require of yourself. How you are going to approach the energy in your life in a new way, to face the fears, to face the discomfort, to face something at a deeper level that you feel or sense is ending. That Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces, 50 minutes retrograde, is making a supportive sextile to the moon. Big closures are happening on the planet, and this Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, is exhausted. It's our mental fatigue, confusion, mass confusion, not knowing what to believe. It's also the mental toll, emotional toll, energetic toll that the process has taken on us. And this is you going higher in your spiritual knowledge and mastery to access more detachment and surrender, but while maintaining your power, maintaining your spiritual power, and allowing for surprising, beneficial changes of this Uranus now at 26 degrees of Taurus, the first time Uranus has been at 26 Taurus, trining that moon. This is a breakthrough, a new revelation, a new sense of liberation and awakening into what could be the answer going forward. At a personal level, you could have an opening to new solutions, new resources, new options here that Uranus is bringing to your attention that you didn't see before. It clicks, it makes sense, it lines up, but it also challenges what you wanted because of how this Uranus is directly squaring Mercury at 26 Leo, which is also in shadow territory. We have our next Mercury retrograde beginning August 4th at 4 degrees of Virgo. Mercury will travel back to 21 degrees of Leo, which means Mercury will make a square to Uranus 3 times. And so this is the first square during the Capricorn full moon, which is shocking and unexpected, challenges the reliable life force that the Mercury in Leo needs. The Mercury energy of the mind, communications, ideas, and planning has been set on something that enhances the sense of self and your creative force. What feels good, what brings you confidence. This is a surprising development that shocks that intention or idea. And yet, it leads to what you can sense is important going forward. This is the plan I had in mind, what I was relying on. That Uranus square says, actually, consider this. And it requires change at a daily level. A daily shift occurs that Mercury will be reprogramming and working with 2 more times. We're moving into very volatile territory, astrologically. I mean, you can already feel that and sense that, I'm sure. But the energy in August is mayhem. Like, I was looking at the upcoming T-squares in August. Like, this is a mess. We're going to need to be able to navigate through the messiness of life, but retain a logical groundedness that doesn't sweep us away. I'll have a separate video for you shortly on the T-squares in August. But that's what also highlights more of the Capricorn full moon. Change is imminent. This is still working with the developments that aren't secured. Lack of security. But trusting that it's needed. You know, this Neptune is going to be in a trine to this Sun in Cancer. And this Neptune in Pisces is where we are really stepping into what trust means for ourselves individually when we don't know what happens next. I also feel that this Neptune in Pisces is highlighting age of Pisces energies, where power and idealism has been granted to false prophets, to those who were not truly connected to a supreme power or a higher God. It brings up where we've been so confused and disillusioned by how people are presented. We buy into the glamour, into perhaps how they show up or the filters they use on Instagram. And we buy into these energies that aren't really related to what we want going forward or what we want to experience in our world. We're feeling a seriousness and a heaviness. And part of our job, because Capricorn assigns jobs, is to go to the ruling planet, Saturn, in Pisces retrograde, and be honest with yourself about what needs to end and close out. That is in your control, that is in your power. It's not about getting lost in the bigger picture of what is shifting and changing all around you. There's always an element of personal responsibility with Saturn. And Saturn is bringing your attention to what cannot be sustained going forward. Saturn is also requiring that you're ending things that aren't for your best and highest good in Pisces. But it can't be done quickly. And that could be frustrating. In August, we're also coming up to the Jupiter in Gemini squaring Saturn in Pisces. That will occur at 17 degrees. It's part of the T-square mutable Mayhem. And this is where Jupiter has a ton of ideas of what to do, what could work, what to explore, what to try. And the square from the Saturn is going to remove the energy and shut down the path, especially if it's karmic, especially if it won't serve for the long term. And I feel like this full moon starts to bring up those things that you're already feeling are closing out. There's a lot closing out here. And you could be feeling that personally, of course. You could be noticing it in your environment, in your work, in your office, in things in general, that it's like there's no energy left for certain things because they don't fit the higher frequencies. That's also part of this. It's a frequency shift. As we're closing out the Pluto and Capricorn frequencies that started in 2008, 2009, and starting in late November into December, Pluto returns here to Aquarius, where it stays until 2044. Things speed up, they get faster. There's a lot more going on that was previously behind the scenes. A lot about 2024 was a slow rollout and a slower integration, especially of the new technologies. When Pluto returns to Aquarius, it's going to be on. All the AI comes out, all the cloning, all of the technologies, all of the things that have been happening behind the scenes that have been camouflaged in the mundane and in the everyday. It comes out full force. And so the world as we know it is changing drastically and permanently, and it's really hard to wrap our minds around it. Now we also have in this chart Mars newly into Gemini, making a trine, an empowering trine to this Pluto at 0 degrees Aquarius. And Mars trining Pluto in the air signs is ready for the information and for the ideas to take action on things that maybe you have felt were slowed down or held back. And so Mars actually brings what this Pluto in Aquarius is transforming, brings it into your daily life more, and you acclimate. You're able to process and take on more, handle more. Mars and Gemini, walking and talking at the same time, but fast. And also a multitasker, walking and talking, but doing two things at once in both hands. It's a lot happening. Then getting back to this Jupiter here at 12 degrees of Gemini is sextiling this Venus at 11 degrees of Leo. And so this brings in good news, happy developments, things that you wanted to talk about or hear about or plan for that boost your confidence, that feel good. So even though this Mercury is under the surprising tension and unexpected change of plan, this Venus has things to work with and has things that she is moving ahead and putting into motion. There's a lot going on in this chart. There's a reality check here about what you already feel and sensing is deeply changing. And this is where you could be recalibrating yourself, emotionally processing it, and wanting to focus on the best way to make the most of it and to work with it and to keep the energy higher, to keep the energy moving in a way that you can handle. Mars in Gemini does things for the short term. but can be wildly distracted and restless and not stick with anything. So when I look at this energy here at the Capricorn full moon on July 21st, this would be the 2-week period of time to be as productive as you can be. Because by the time we get to the August 4th Leo new moon, that's when Mercury stations retrograde. That's when the mutable signs start teeing off in a T-square. That's when August has a very different energy signature that can be more confusing, but it's meant to be a time of just not attaching to a particular outcome. So I feel with this particular Capricorn full moon, get things done. When you have the energy, do it. Take care of it. Look at things realistically of what you do have energy for versus what you don't. Of course, stick to what you're responsible for, what you have to take care of. But Pluto is coming back here to this point in your chart and is requiring a deeper completion at a soul level. So this is your heads up. This is your heads up on those themes, on what is being illuminated. Again, foreshadowing is the name of the game with this Capricorn full moon. Because we're going to close the year out and move into very different energies and frequencies. So what do you need to take care of in order to move on, to set yourself free, to honor something from a place of your personal authority? And to know that, a big part of this experience and game of being human is to be able to sample and work with different energies. And this could show you how you're able to do that, or where perhaps it feels like a challenge. So it is a big deal, Capricorn full moon. I'll talk about it more on my weekly podcast every Wednesday. And wishing you a beautiful journey here through July. And as we experience energies that are designed to move us forward at a deep evolutionary level. Take good care. I'll see you back here soon.